Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Ways to Wellbeing, and it's December already, can you believe it? And I am feeling very Christmassy. What about you?
No, not yet, Jeff.
No.
Not yet.
Listen,
Maybe the week of Christmas.
Listen, Ebenezer, I know I'm a big kid, but I love this time of year, and I love the fact I've never been in this office at this time of year, and I've noticed that along the banks of the Ness, they've got all the kind of fairy lights up, and they reach to the bottom of our street there. Yeah. It's amazing. And all our neighbours have got their Christmas lights out. We haven't yet. Have you got your Christmas?
No, far too early. Far too early.
One of my neighbours puts his lights out just after Halloween.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's great. And last year in particular, it was great because, remember it was the sudden lockdown for Christmas, and he had the lights up and it cheered everybody up. So I say, good on you, mate. Good on you. And it's December and I'm already behind with my chocolate advent calendar.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got my chocolate advent calendar here.
Not very festive.
It's not very festive, and my wife, I have to say, doesn't allow chocolate advent calendars in the house. She never gave them to her kids. It's always got to be traditional festive, with no chocolates inside. So that's why I have a sneaky one in the office. And I was going to get you one, but all they had in the shop, apart from this, was Barbie.
Did you not think I was a Barbie kind of girl?
Well, you've got to be worried about gender stereotyping and all that these days. So what I got you instead was nothing.
Oh, fab.
And now there is a reason for me getting a Hot Wheels advent calendar, which I can only reveal at the end of the programme. But in the meantime, like a few shout outs, not many. You know who didn't get in touch with us this week?
Who?
Eamon O'Neill.
Oh, Eamon. I'm
tempted to put his picture up with just blank quotation marks.
Did we not pay him last week?
I don't know, he's in the huff, maybe. Yeah. But a big shout out to our friends at HTSI. Do you know what that stands for?
Mm-hmm. Highland Third Sector Interface.
You're brilliant. You get a point. You get a chocolate. And Jane and Sue over there were in touch to say they think the show is great.
Good.
And they want to involve lots of volunteers and charities across the Highlands in the coming year. So that's optimistic that we're going to continue into next year. But thank you very much, Jane and Sue. And it really touched me with festive spirit, that kind of thing. And let's find out if our walk manager and roving reporter, Kate Thompson, is in a festive mood. The last time we spoke to her out and about, she was in Nairn. Let's find out where she is this time. Hello, Kate. Where are you?
Hello, guys. Hello. Well, I'm actually still in Nairn, but I am in a different location. And today I'm coming from the Nairn Orchard. So it's managed by the Green Hive, a lovely organisation here in Nairn. And you can maybe see behind me, there's some very sort of quite sad looking trees at the moment because it's not really the time of year for apples and things to be on the trees. But yeah, that's where I am today.
Well, do you know what I find very surprising about that, Kate, is we thought you were going to the Nairn bandstand, and I've got 10 bandstand jokes ready for that, which I'll turn into apple jokes, I think. So
I'm just learning about this recording malarkey.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm not prepped you very well, have I?
Yeah. Anyway, Kate, you are our walks manager. You are in charge of making sure all the walks that were kind of shut down over lockdown are gradually reviving and coming back to life. But more than that, you've got a number of new initiatives planned for next year. And one that you're working on this week, I believe, is a pilot for Nordic Walking. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working in partnership with Parkinson's UK on a pilot project in the new year, which is going to be a 12-week programme for people living with Parkinson's in Inverness to try out and learn Nordic walking as a skill. And I have to say, I've actually never tried it. We were hoping to have a taster event last week, as you know, because you were going to come along. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, because of Storm Arwen, we had to postpone that taster. So that'll be happening in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll get to try it out for myself. But really looking forward to it. And we've got a fantastic trained instructor. You'll be pleased to know who's going to be leading these sessions and working with our volunteers to run the pilot.
Great, Kate, because we're all learning about this. I mean, I was reading up a wee bit about it last night because I thought, to be honest, I thought it was just people walking with ski poles or something like that, but there's a lot more to it than that. And the reason, the reason why we're involved with Parkinson's UK, and I think the person who can tell us a bit more about that is our guest this week.
Absolutely.
Helga Mellor Macfarlane. Hello, Helga.
Hello.
Now, Helga, you'll be well known to people in this part of Scotland because you were a teacher for a while. What is the word? Peripatetic?
Peripatetic brass teacher.
Yes.
In Inverness and Culloden and Inverness Royal Academy.
And
but many years ago, so it will be the older people, it will be the mothers and the grandmothers of current pupils that may remember me.
Well, it'll be youngins like myself as well. And you literally blew your own trumpet in those days at schools like Culloden Academy and Milburn and some of the feeder primary schools. But then I met you at Murrayfirth Radio. You were first of all a presenter, then you were a journalist, and then you went to Grampian Television, I believe. Is that right?
I did. That's right. I went to Radio Tay, in fact, in between, and then I went to Grampian Television.
Yes, you went to,
and then I moved around
Aberdeen.
freelance with Granada TV and BBC here and there, and eventually ended up back where I was born, which is Aberdeen.
And you are the author of this fantastic book. I have it here. Just wobbling along, my first 5 years with Parkinson's disease. And I have to say, I read it when it came out, Helga. I thought it was terrific. Nicola was reading it last night in bed. Kate was reading it in the office yesterday. I mean, it's a great book, isn't it, guys?
It's unbelievable. It's just brilliant, Helga. Honestly, I couldn't put it down. It's just so beautifully written, and it's just so inspiring as well. Your whole attitude around it was just a great read. It was really good.
That's so kind of you. I have to say it was a really easy book to write because I was really just recounting what happened. You know, it was almost just like publishing a diary of events as they came. So, you know, it was a really easy book to write, and I suppose a little bit cathartic for me because it helped me analyze it and see it for what it was, you know, and think it all through as I was writing it. So it was an easy project and an enjoyable one, and I hope it's useful for someone who finds himself in the same position.
Yeah, I think what's brilliant about it is that it's, you know, you can Google Parkinson's, you can get information from a medical standpoint, but what's great about your book is it really takes you from a personal experience, you know, going through the various appointments and stuff like that from a patient's perspective. And I think that's so like niche, and it's just be so valuable to people that are going through that process themselves.
And Kate, you were reading it as well.
Yeah, I had a little chance to read it before Nicola took it away from me to get right stuck into it last night. And Helga, it was such an interesting read from what I read so far. I was wondering, you know, this is from your perspective. I wondered, do you feel that is every Parkinson's story different?
Every Parkinson's story is different because it's a disease that has so many different symptoms. It's a very misunderstood disease by the general public because I think the general public see it as an old person's disease often. So especially if you're in a younger age group, people around you perhaps don't really understand at all what you might be going through. And there's a whole gamut of symptoms, not just the motor symptoms, but the non-motor symptoms. So yes, everybody's story is a little bit different, but I think we all find our own ways of coping and we look for parallels, you know, within our own community of Parkinson's people and support each other that way.
Yeah, I can really understand that. I think one of the things we hope to get from this pilot project is to create a bit of that kind of community support. I wondered if you have any sort of tips for us with our pilot project in terms of working with people living with Parkinson's and doing an outdoor activity.
Well, the first thing I would say is anything that encourages people with Parkinson's to be active in any way at all is fantastic because it's so important. It's so important for physical well-being and it's so important for mental well-being. But from the physical side, I mean, we all know whether you have a condition like Parkinson's or whether you're a healthy person, we all know that exercise is beneficial, but in Parkinson's, it's more than just beneficial from an aerobic point of view, a heart point of view, a fitness point of view, because any form of movement causes your brain to have to communicate with your muscles in your body. And that is what Parkinson's does to you, is it destroys it. Put in very simple terms, it destroys those communication pathways within your brain. So by encouraging the movement and by encouraging the coordination that any form of movement and exercise takes, you are strengthening those what they call neural pathways. Whereas the drugs that we take, they can mask the symptoms while they're working. No drug yet has been known to slow the symptoms of Parkinson's disease, but numerous studies, particularly over recent years, have shown that a good exercise regime, and it doesn't need to be any fancy equipment, it doesn't need to be trips to an expensive gym, but any form of good regular exercise is good for, and has been shown to have the ability to slow down the progression of Parkinson's disease.
It is amazing that message about the value of exercise for Parkinson's was echoed. We were following earlier this year another friend of mine, John Mcphee, who with his American friend walked from John O'Groats to London, then took part in the London Marathon. He was sending little videos from time to time, just saying the very thing that you're saying, Helga, is that exercise of any kind is so important. And as you say, it does more than the drugs can ever do. Have you tried Nordic Walking yourself?
I have tried Nordic Walking, yes. I'm very lucky to have a physiotherapist for a next door neighbour who is into Nordic Walking. So I have tried it. And I think one thing I would say is the term Nordic Walking suggests you romping around the wilderness, up hills and down dales. Now I go Nordic Walking through the streets of Stonehaven with my physiotherapist friend. The poles are not there as people might think because you're necessarily walking on rough terrain. The poles are a coordination aid. They are a rhythm aid, because one of the things that Parkinson's can do is it disrupts your walking rhythm, and some people get freezing and things like that. And the poles can make a big difference to creating that rhythm that you need to just keep moving forward. So it's a whole interesting and new way of walking that can give you a lot of stability that you don't get without the poles. But it doesn't mean hill walking, it means any walking.
So what stage are we at, Kate, with the Nordic Walking pilot?
So very excitingly, we just received notification that our new Nordic Walking poles will be arriving in the next week. And we're just kind of getting the word out there at the moment, and welcome anybody who is living with Parkinson's and is able to attend the sessions in Inverness to get in touch, and we'll kind of give some more information. At the moment, it's a small pilot project, only space for six people, but we're hoping that we'll see how that one goes and take it from there.
Well, thanks, Kate. We'll let you go and pick some apples just now while we keep a hold of Helga, because Nicola is going to test Helga on her well-being with our weekly well-being challenge. And this is approved by the NHS, I think it's fair to say, and it's about things you can do for a more rounded life. So Helga, are you up for this?
Absolutely, go for it. I may fail miserably, but I'm definitely
I don't think so. Having read your book, I just saw determination coming from you. That's all I was getting. So I reckon you'll be passing this, but let's just see. If you could give us an example in the past week of each of these five questions, that'd be brilliant.
Okay.
You think
So-
we need me to shout number one? Number one.
Doesn't he get carried away?
Well, we're radio people, you know. We like a little audio bells and whistles, you know.
You ready for number one?
Number one.
Have you connected with other people in the past week?
Yes, I have. I've been connecting quite a lot with, from a Parkinson's point of view, with a lady at Robert Gordon University, a lecturer called Julie Jones, who is just completing a research project that I've been involved with on exercise with Parkinson's. So we have been in touch over Zoom as she completes the first stage of that. And I've also been connecting in this weather with a very dear friend of mine who is 70 years old and lives 5 miles down the road and has had no electricity for 3 days.
Oh no.
So we've been keeping her going, and thankfully she got it back last night. So yes, I've been connecting.
That's a point, I reckon.
That's a point, yes. Ready for number two.
Have you been physically active in the past week?
I have. I even went out walking in the rain yesterday.
Committed.
Because I'm a great believer that there's no bad weather, there's just wrong clothing. So I went out with my raincoat and my walking boots, and I was out biking. I have to say cycling is my thing, but the roads around here are full of fallen trees, so I did some walking yesterday.
I believe you're an e-biker, Helga, is that right?
I'm an e-biker, and I think it's the most fantastic thing ever invented.
I too
Yeah,
am part of the e-biking world. Yes, they're absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
yeah. Number three.
Have you learnt a new skill in the past week?
Have I learned a new skill? Ooh, well, I resurrected a lockdown skill that was new to me in lockdown, and I decided to learn to crochet.
Oh, brilliant.
And I did some crocheting. I made some dishcloths. And then it kind of petered out as you know, we were unlocked, so to speak. And with this awful weather we've been having, I decided I would resurrect my crocheting learning experience. So I might actually graduate past dishcloths this time.
What are you going for next?
Probably a hat.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Do you know, when I was looking through the NHS guidelines last night about this number three of learning a skill, it said, try a new recipe. So I've been trying to bounce Nicola into a project because every week I say, she's a great cook, a great baker, and it goes nowhere. And I should explain, she really is terrific. And I'm trying to persuade her that she should put a recipe on our website every week, which we could call Nicola's Nosh. What do you think, Helga? Do you think
I think that's fantastic.
we could all try it out, you know, Nicola's Nosh?
I mean, I love how you're putting me on the spot.
It's healthy. Home cooking is a, you know, cooking from scratch is such an important well-being thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's so good for us to all do it. And it's something that we can all, I really believe, you know, I have loved cooking for a long time, but I really believe we can all cook. You know, we can all learn to cook, and it's something, once you learn, you know, you've got it forever. It's brilliant, yeah.
Number four.
Have you given to others in the past week? Now, you've kind of already covered this with your elderly neighbour, so I wonder if there's another example.
Well, as matter of fact, in about 5 hours' time today, I am welcoming to Aberdeen an Afghan refugee family who I'm very, very proud to be giving accommodation to help them start a new life in Aberdeen. So it's a super exciting day for me to be able to do that.
Wow, that's excellent.
I think you've kind of overreached the mark here. I mean, we were looking for, like, help someone across the road, put 10 pence in a charity tin, you know.
Wow.
Well, you should try to get extra points.
I mean, if I could give you a double point, I would, but I don't think Beth will be quite so keen.
Number five.
I don't deserve points for it. It's just something that I would hope that if I was in their shoes, someone would do for me.
Absolutely. I love that. So number 5 is a bit of a mindfulness question, and it's whether you've been good at paying attention to the present moment in the past week.
Do you know, I'm a great believer in mindfulness, and I do a neuro Pilates class, which is for a range of people with a range of neurological conditions. And at the end of every class, the instructor just sits us down for 5 minutes and does mindfulness. And, you know, the first time we did it, I thought, okay. And, you know, I could sit there for the rest of the day. It's tremendous. The whole class just falls into silence, and it is wonderful.
It's funny that, isn't it? I think a lot of people have, like what you just said, the first time you're a bit sort of nervous, not really knowing what's going on, kind of feeling it's a little bit pointless maybe. And I think that's quite a lot of people feel that in the first sort of few experiences of practicing mindfulness. But it's amazing how quickly you soon learn to love it.
Absolutely, yes. That really taught me a lot. The first few sessions of that made me really realise how good it is to just perhaps go into another room and sit in a chair and just give yourself a bit of time and space.
Well, I mean...
Well, obviously you've won the challenge, Helga. You qualified for one of our puffins.
Oh, yes.
Camera 2, puffin, camera 2. We're running out of puffins.
We are running out of puffins.
But no one deserves it more than you. We will send you this. Now, before you go...
Very honoured, thank you.
Before you go, Helga, and I know I love boasting about my kids, you know, and I think everybody should boast about their kids when they get the chance. And there was a reason for me choosing a Hot Wheels advent calendar. And I'm going to ask Helga to tell us something exciting about her son, Murray.
Well, I'm thinking that the reason that you bought that is because you're a big kid, if I remember correctly. But I'm very, very proud to say that, and I'm quite choked up saying it actually. My son is an engineering student at Strathclyde University with a passion for motorsport. And yesterday he got himself a job as an engineer at Red Bull Racing. So I'm absolutely super proud of him.
And there was a bidding war, I understand, as well.
There was a bidding war, much to his surprise. Yes,
I'd love to be something of a bidding war.
From Williams and Mercedes, and had a huge dilemma and went down to see them all. And yesterday he decided that Red Bull was going to be the one for him. So we're super excited for him.
Yeah, wow.
Terrific.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now, do you want a sneak preview of something we're planning later this month, Helga? Is we're having a Christmas special edition of Ways to Wellbeing. I can't reveal all the star guests, but I want to tell you about one of them. A titan of broadcasting, a certain Mr. Gary Robertson is going to be our guest. And I bet you he's going to tell that story. Do you know that story he tells about not being given a bag of chocolate coins at Christmas by the teacher?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes, I remember that story well.
The man's in his 50s. Yes. He's in his 50s now.
Yes, exactly.
He still tells us. I mean, talk about me with my Hot Wheels. I mean, I know you've sent him chocolate pennies to cheer him up. Absolutely.
And I mean, at my first radio, we got paid in chocolate pennies.
We've got friends at Murray First Radio. We've got another
very valuable ones.
Anyway, before you go, just remind you, this terrific book, Just Wobbling Along, by Helga. I'll get this right. Helga Mellor Macfarlane. I still know Helga as Helga Mellor, you know, it just trips off the tongue. Helga Mellor Macfarlane. Terrific book. My first 5 years with Parkinson's. Helga, thank you for being a terrific guest.
Thank you.
And we'll say goodbye to you just now.
Thank you so much for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Meanwhile, just to say to everyone watching that please Subscribe to us on YouTube if you like. Go to our website, p4w.org.uk, if you want to send recipe ideas to Nicola. Her email address is
Nicola@p4w.org.uk.
And if you want to send me some chocolate, it's jeff@p4w.org.uk. Meantime, enjoy the festive season.
All right.